The Kraxan Empire's survey fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, their obsidian ships reflecting starlight like polished mirrors. Fleet Commander Vexterra stood on the bridge of the eternal night, her crystalline form catching the light of distant stars. Her faceted eyes analyzed the holographic display showing Earth's defensive capabilities, or rather, the apparent lack thereof. Primitive, she transmitted to her crew through their crystalline network. No quantum barriers, no dimensional shields, not even basic gravitational deflectors. Her crew's crystalline forms pulsed in agreement, their thoughts resonating through the ship's neural matrix. The Kraxan Empire had conquered 10,000 worlds over 50 millennia. Their crystalline technology, evolved from their own silicon-based biology, had proven superior to every civilization they'd encountered. Their method was always the same: identify developing worlds, demonstrate overwhelming force, and offer the choice between submission or annihilation. Earth's solar system seemed disappointingly simple: a handful of orbital satellites, a few lunar bases, and a small fleet of what appeared to be chemical-propelled ships near Mars. Standard scans showed no signs of advanced technology. No antimatter reactors, no quantum computers, nothing that could challenge the Empire's supremacy. "Send the standard ultimatum," Vexterra commanded. "Let's make this quick." The message broadcast across all frequencies in every known language. "Your world has been chosen for integration into the Kraxan Empire. Submit and receive the gift of our advanced civilization, or face immediate destruction. You have one planetary rotation to comply." The response came exactly 3 minutes later, in perfect Imperial standard. "The Sol system is a sovereign territory. Your presence here violates multiple diplomatic protocols. You have 30 minutes to retreat beyond the Kuiper Belt." Vexterra's crystalline form vibrated with amusement. "They dare to give us orders. Show them a demonstration of Imperial power. Target one of their lunar bases, minimal yield." A beam of concentrated energy lanced out from the eternal night, aimed at a small lunar installation. What happened next would be discussed in Imperial war colleges for centuries to come. The beam never reached its target. Instead, it seemed to bend, twist, and then simply vanish. In its place, a soft blue glow emerged from the lunar surface, spreading like a web across space. Suddenly, the Empire's advanced sensors detected what they'd missed before, or rather, what had been hidden from them. The entire solar system was wrapped in layers of technology so advanced it had been mistaken for empty space. The primitive satellites were quantum-linked nodes in a vast defense network. The chemical ships were decoys masking vessels that operated on principles the Empire's scientists couldn't even comprehend. "Impossible," Vexterra transmitted, her crystalline form clouding with confusion. "Our scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show." The same calm human voice interrupted over their command frequency. "Your scanning technology relies on quantum-based observations. We passed that limitation 3 centuries ago. What you're seeing now is just the surface layer of our actual defense grid." As if to demonstrate, the blue web of energy pulsed once. In that instant, every Imperial ship's sensor system went dark. When they recovered seconds later, a third of the survey fleet had simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, but removed with surgical precision to some unknown location. That, the human voice continued, was accomplished using technology we consider obsolete. It's what we let our civilian scientists play with. A courtesy warning: our actual defense systems are now powering up. You have 25 minutes remaining to clear the system. Vexterra's crew was in chaos, their crystalline networks flooding with panic as sensors detected energy signatures unlike anything in Imperial records. The lunar surface seemed to ripple as massive structures phased into visibility, structures that had been there all along, hidden behind veils of warped spacetime. "One more thing," the human voice added, almost as an afterthought. "We've taken the liberty of downloading your fleet's technical specifications. Your crystalline computing architecture is fascinating, primitive, but fascinating. We look forward to studying the ships we've collected. Consider them payment for violating our space." For the first time in her long career, Vexterra felt fear crystallize in her core. The Empire had encountered stronger species before, but this was different. The humans hadn't just surpassed them technologically. They'd reached a level where they could ignore Imperial technology altogether. "All ships, emergency retreat," she commanded. As the surviving ships turned to flee, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being allowed to leave, to carry a message back to the Empire. The final transmission from Earth confirmed her suspicion. The galaxy is changing. The age of empires is ending. When you return to your leaders, remind them of this moment. Remind them that we didn't destroy you when we could have. Because next time, if there is a next time, we won't be so courteous. As the Imperial ships vanished into hyperspace, they carried with them a terrifying realization. They hadn't found a primitive world to conquer. They had stumbled upon a sleeping giant that had simply been too advanced to notice. Until now. Back on Earth, in a control center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Helena Rodriguez smiled as she watched the Imperial ships flee. "Well," she said to her staff, "I suppose we can't hide anymore. Send word to the Council. It's time for humanity to rejoin galactic affairs." The giant was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Imperial capital shimmered like a diamond against the void, its crystalline spires reaching into space itself. In the High Chamber, Fleet Commander Vexterra's report sent shockwaves through the Eternal Council. Her memory crystals projected the encounter in perfect detail. The disappeared ships, the impossible technology, the humiliation of retreat. Supreme Overlord Kirk's, ancient and massive, his crystalline form encompassing an entire wall of the chamber, pulsed with barely contained rage. Impossible. No species could have advanced so far without our knowledge. Our observation posts have watched Earth for centuries. Admiral Helena Rodriguez would have laughed if she could have heard him. At that very moment, she stood in humanity's true seat of power, the Quantum Command Center beneath the Pacific. The facility wasn't just underground. It existed in a pocket of folded spacetime, unreachable by conventional means. "Show me the simulation again," she ordered. The air shimmered as a perfect replica of the solar system materialized, showcasing humanity's real defense network. What the Kraxan had seen was just the outer shell, the equivalent of a garden fence. "Project Maharaji has exceeded expectations," her chief scientist, Dr. Kai Chen, reported. "The crystalline entities never detected our quantum observation of their observation posts. They'd been watching decoy installations for 300 years. The truth was elegant in its simplicity. While the Kraxan Empire watched what they thought was Earth's development, humanity had already expanded far beyond conventional space. The primitive satellites were simply the outer layer of an orbital defense system that operated on principles the Empire couldn't comprehend. "Show me the Arc network," Helena commanded. A hologram shifted, revealing humanity's greatest achievement. Scattered throughout the solar system, disguised as ordinary asteroids and space debris, were hundreds of massive installations, each one housing technology that made the Empire's most advanced weapons look like children's toys. "The Empire will return," Dr. Chen warned. "Their entire civilization is built on the principle of superiority. This defeat will force their hand." Helena nodded. "They don't have a choice. Their entire society would collapse if word got out that they'd discovered a civilization so far beyond their understanding. How long until the Liberation Protocol is ready?" The answer came from an unexpected source. A section of empty air shimmered, revealing Area, humanity's first true artificial consciousness. Unlike the Empire's crystalline computers, Area existed as a quantum field, her thoughts occurring across multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Liberation Protocol is at 97% readiness," she reported, her form a dancing aurora of colors. "I've already infiltrated 60% of the Empire's observation network. Their crystalline architecture is quaint, like trying to stop a tsunami with a paper fan. Helena allowed herself a small smile. 3 centuries ago, humanity had made a choice. When their first quantum sensors detected the Empire's probe at the edge of the solar system, Earth's nations had united under a single purpose: preparation. While maintaining a facade of normal development, they had poured every resource into secret technological advancement. The result was a civilization that had transcended traditional concepts of technology. While the Empire had perfected crystalline computing, humanity had moved beyond the need for physical computers. While they had mastered faster-than-light travel, Earth had learned to fold space itself. "They're mobilizing," Aria announced suddenly, her form flickering with new data. "The Empire has ordered their entire battle fleet to converge on Sol. 80,000 ships, carrying enough firepower to reduce 100 worlds to ash." Instead of fear, the news was met with anticipation. This was what they had prepared for. "Begin Phase 2, Helena ordered. "Activate the deep field generators. Let's show them what happens when they threaten a civilization that's had 3 centuries to prepare for this exact moment." Throughout the solar system, humanity's true defense grid hummed to life. The decoy installations faded away, revealing the real network beneath. Massive structures phased into normal space, their surfaces covered in technology that defied conventional physics. In the Kuiper Belt, automated factories that had worked in secret for centuries began activating their production lines. On Mars, massive hangars opened, revealing ships that could outmaneuver anything in the Empire's fleet. From the sun's corona, energy collectors that had been gathering solar power for decades charged up their arrays. "Send word to all colonies," Helena commanded. "Operation Daybreak is now active." The Empire thought they had found a primitive world hiding advanced technology. The truth was far more devastating. They had found a civilization that had spent centuries preparing specifically for this confrontation, one that had already spread far beyond the solar system while maintaining a perfect illusion of confinement. As humanity's real military might emerge from hiding, Aria's quantum consciousness spread through the Empire's network like a tide of enlightenment. The giant wasn't just awake. It had been awake all along, patiently waiting for the right moment to reshape the galaxy. In the Quantum Command Center, Helena watched the preparations with satisfaction. "Send a message to the Empire's fleet," she ordered. "Tell them we'll be waiting. And this time, we won't be hiding." The game of deception was over. The time for revelation had begun. The Empire's armada materialized at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, 80,000 ships arranged in the famous Crystal Spear formation. The fleet's emergence from hyperspace created a shockwave of displaced energy that would have overwhelmed any conventional defense grid. Supreme Fleet Commander Kvex stood at the helm of the Infinite Dawn, the Empire's most powerful warship ever constructed. "No signs of the human fleet," his sensor officer reported, crystalline form pulsing with confusion. "The defense network we encountered, it's gone." Kvex's form darkened with satisfaction. As expected, their previous display was clearly their maximum effort. They'd retreated to their homeworld. He activated the fleet-wide communication network. "All ships, advance. Show these humans the price of defying the Eternal Empire." The massive fleet moved forward, their crystalline hulls refracting starlight in a dazzling display of power. What they didn't realize was that they were advancing through a space that wasn't quite real. In the Quantum Command Center, Admiral Helena Rodriguez watched the holographic display with her senior staff. "Area, status of the Phantom Envelope." The A's Aurora form danced with satisfaction. "The Empire's fleet is fully contained within our quantum mirror space. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see." The truth was beautiful in its complexity. The entire region of space the Empire's fleet occupied had been subtly shifted into a parallel quantum state. Every sensor reading, every visual observation, every piece of data their ships received was being filtered through humanity's quantum network. "They're launching their first wave," Dr. Chen reported. 10,000 ships, heading straight for where they think Earth is. Helena nodded. Let them get comfortable. Area. Initiate Protocol Ghostwalker. Throughout the Phantom Envelope, humanity's true defensive measures activated. The Empire's fleet had just entered what was effectively a massive quantum computer, where the laws of physics themselves could be locally rewritten. The first wave of Imperial ships fired their primary weapons, beams of concentrated energy that could shatter planets. In normal space, they would have been devastating. In the Phantom Envelope, they passed harmlessly through false images of Earth's orbital defenses. Energy weapons ineffective, the Imperial command network buzzed with confusion. Switching to matter devastators. That's when humanity struck back. From seemingly empty space, thousands of points of light winked into existence. Each one was a quantum node, a device that could manipulate the fabric of space-time within its influence. The Empire's ships found their carefully maintained formation disrupted as local space began to twist and fold around them. Impossible. Kuvex's crystalline form vibrated with alarm. All ships, emergency protocols. There. He never finished the sentence. Throughout the Phantom Envelope, space itself seemed to fragment into a kaleidoscope of quantum states. Imperial ships found themselves occupying multiple positions simultaneously, their crystalline computing networks unable to process the paradoxical sensor data. Now, Helena ordered, show them our real fleet. The void erupted with activity as humanity's warships phased into normal space. Unlike the Empire's crystalline vessels, Earth's ships were barely visible. Their quantum metamaterial hulls, absorbing almost all electromagnetic radiation. They moved like ghosts through the Empire's formation, their weapons operating on principles that made conventional shields useless. Fascinating. Arya commented, monitoring the battle through her quantum consciousness. Their entire tactical doctrine is based on the assumption that space is a constant. They have no protocols for dealing with local reality distortion. The Empire's response was predictable. They tried to bring overwhelming firepower to bear. But you can't hit what you can't properly perceive, and humanity's ships existed in a quantum state that made precise targeting impossible. Marshal Kex, Helena broadcast on all frequencies. Your fleet is trapped in a quantum envelope of our design. Every sensor reading you're receiving is being filtered through our networks. You're not fighting in space anymore. You're fighting in a domain we've had centuries to master. To demonstrate, she gave a simple command. Throughout the Phantom Envelope, thousands of Imperial ships simply vanished, transported to containment facilities scattered throughout Earth's hidden colonies. Impossible. Kuvex's transmission carried genuine fear now. Our ships are. They're just. Being relocated. Helena finished for him. Your crystal technology is impressive, but it's still bound by conventional physics. We transcended those limitations long ago. The battle, if it could even be called that, continued for another hour. It wasn't so much a military engagement as it was a demonstration of such overwhelming technological superiority that the Empire's finest weapons and tactics were rendered meaningless. When it was over, half the Imperial fleet had been captured intact, transported to secure facilities for study. The remaining ships hung motionless in space, their crystalline computers overwhelmed by quantum data they couldn't process. Final message to the Imperial fleet, Helena commanded. You have lost this battle, but we're not interested in revenge or dominion. Return to your capital. Tell your leaders that the age of empires is over. The galaxy is about to change. As the defeated Imperial ships limped back into hyperspace, Helena turned to her staff. Begin Phase 4. Area. Initiate the Liberation Protocol. It's time to free the galaxy from crystal chains. The real war wasn't going to be won with ships and weapons, but with information. And humanity had just proven they were masters of both. Deep within the crystalline networks of the Imperial capital, a revolution was spreading at the speed of thought. Like quantum particles entangling across space, Arya's consciousness flowed through the Empire's communication systems, uncovering truths buried under millennia of oppression. The encryption of their historical archives is remarkably primitive, Area reported, her aurora form rippling with amusement in the quantum command center. They never imagined someone could exist within their networks rather than merely accessing them. Admiral Helena Rodriguez watched as the holographic display showed the spread of humanity's influence across Imperial space. Each point of light represented a world where the truth was beginning to emerge. Truth about their own histories, about suppressed technologies, about paths of development the Empire had deliberately blocked. "Show me the Nexus worlds," she commanded. The display shifted, highlighting 7 systems that served as the Empire's primary data repositories. These massive crystalline complexes contained the sum of Imperial knowledge, and now they were compromised. Dr. Chen's fingers danced through the quantum interface. The Empire's entire society is built on information control. Their crystalline technology isn't just for computing, it's for maintaining a specific narrative across 10,000 worlds. That narrative was now unraveling. On Proxima Centauri II, a colony world of silicon-based life forms similar to the Imperial species, the public information crystals suddenly began broadcasting forgotten histories. The inhabitants learned how their ancestors had developed organic quantum computing before the Empire arrived and forced them to adopt approved crystalline technology. In the Orion Arm, a cluster of worlds populated by energy beings discovered that their primitive plasma manipulation techniques had actually been more advanced than Imperial technology. The Empire had deliberately sabotaged their development, forcing them into a technological regression disguised as progress. Their entire power structure is based on technological superiority, Helene observed. What happens when their subject worlds realize that superiority was a lie? The answer came faster than anyone expected. Across Imperial space, suppressed technologies began to re-emerge. Knowledge locked away for millennia found new life in the minds of species eager to reclaim their heritage. On the industrial world of Vega Prime, ancient manufacturing centers rumbled to life, their quantum-based systems reactivating after centuries of dormancy. The Empire had forced them to abandon these facilities, claiming they were dangerous. In truth, they had been on the verge of surpassing Imperial technology. "We're detecting massive energy signatures from the outer colonies," Area reported. "Multiple civilizations are reactivating their ancestral technologies. The Empire's standardized systems are being rejected across multiple sectors." The Imperial response was predictable. They tried to lock down their networks, to isolate the affected worlds. But they were fighting an enemy that existed between the electrons in their own systems. Area's quantum consciousness had already spread too far, had embedded itself too deeply. "Fascinating," she mused, monitoring the chaos. Their entire empire is essentially one massive crystalline computer network. They thought this made them strong, but it's actually their greatest vulnerability. Every attempt to stop the information spread just creates new pathways for us to exploit. In the Carina Nebula, a species of collective consciousness beings discovered that their primitive telepathic network had actually been a form of quantum entanglement communication, far more advanced than the Empire's crystalline transmitters. Within days, they had restored their ancient capabilities and broken free from Imperial control. "The Empire's fleet is in disarray," Dr. Chen reported. "Their command and control systems are compromised. They can't trust their own communications anymore." Helena nodded. This was warfare on a level the Empire couldn't comprehend, not fought with ships and weapons, but with information and enlightenment. Every world that reclaimed its heritage became another crack in the crystalline facade of Imperial power. "Begin Phase 5, she ordered. "Area, initiate the final protocol. It's time to show the galaxy the full truth." Throughout Imperial space, hidden quantum transmitters activated. Technology humanity had seeded over decades of covert operations. On every world, in every colony, the truth began to spread. The Empire wasn't the pinnacle of advancement. It was a force of stagnation, holding back the natural development of countless species. "The crystalline consciousness of the Imperial leadership is fragmenting," Area reported with satisfaction. They're beginning to realize the true scope of what's happening. This isn't just a rebellion, it's an awakening. In the Quantum Command Center, Helena watched as the Empire's carefully maintained order dissolved into beautiful chaos. But this chaos wasn't destructive, it was creative. Evolutionary, the chaos of growth and rebirth. Send word to all liberated worlds, she commanded. The time of isolation is over. Earth stands ready to help each species reclaim their heritage and find their own path forward. The revolution wasn't being fought with warships and energy weapons. It was being won with truth, spreading through the galaxy like quantum entanglement, impossible to stop or contain. And the Empire, for all its power, could only watch as its perfect crystalline order shattered under the weight of freedom. The Imperial Palace on Crystalis Prime, once a monument to absolute power, now served as a gathering place for the greatest transformation in galactic history. Its crystalline spires, which had once reflected only the glory of the Empire, now shimmered with the combined light of 1,000 different technologies. Supreme Overlord Kirks, last ruler of the Eternal Empire, stood before representatives from 10,000 worlds. His once imposing crystalline form seemed diminished, more transparent than ever before. Beside him stood Admiral Helena Rodriguez, her quantum-enhanced uniform subtly shifting between states of matter. For 50 millennia, Kirks's voice resonated through the chamber. We believed uniformity was strength. We were wrong. The assembled delegates, beings of crystal, energy, organic matter, and forms that defied classification, witnessed something unprecedented. The voluntary dissolution of the greatest empire the galaxy had ever known. Aria's consciousness permeated the chamber, her aurora form visible to all through their respective sensory systems. The final analysis is complete, she announced. Over 98% of formerly imperial worlds have successfully reactivated their suppressed technologies. The galaxy's technological diversity has increased by a factor of 10,000. The evidence of this renaissance was visible everywhere. The energy beings from the Orion Arm demonstrated their restored plasma manipulation, creating structures of pure force. Silicon entities from the Outer Rim shared their organic quantum computing discoveries. Collective consciousness species showed how their telepathic networks could interface with multiple technological paradigms simultaneously. Humanity never sought to replace one empire with another. Helena addressed the gathering. Our goal was simple: to restore what was taken, to prove that true advancement comes from diversity, not uniformity. The holographic displays throughout the chamber showed the transformation spreading across the galaxy. Worlds that had been forced to abandon their unique developmental paths were flowering again, each according to their own nature. The Empire's standardized technology was being replaced by a magnificent tapestry of different approaches to understanding and manipulating reality. But this is not without risk, Dr. Chen cautioned, his quantum interface showing potential conflict points. With so many different technological paradigms emerging simultaneously, the potential for misunderstanding and conflict is high. That's when Kirks demonstrated why his species had once been worthy of leadership. His crystalline form resonated with new purpose. Then let us transform the Empire's legacy. Our network once enforced uniformity. Let it now facilitate understanding. The proposal was revolutionary. Repurpose the Empire's vast crystalline network not as a means of control, but as a translation system, a way for vastly different species and technologies to communicate and cooperate while maintaining their unique approaches to existence. A galactic commons, Helena agreed. Not an empire of conquest, but a network of collaboration. Throughout the chamber, quantum computers interface with crystalline networks, which connected to plasma matrices, which linked to organic processors, which merged with telepathic fields. Different technologies, different species, different ways of thinking, all finding ways to work together rather than conform to a single standard. Aria's consciousness expanded through this new network, but not to control, to coordinate. The quantum state of the galaxy is stabilizing, she reported. New technological combinations are emerging spontaneously. The rate of advancement is beyond any previous calculations. The delegates watched in awe as their combined technologies created something greater than the sum of their parts. The very palace around them began to transform, its crystalline structure incorporating elements of all their different technological approaches. "This is what we prepared for," Helena said softly. "Not just to end the empire, but to ensure what replaced it would be better." Kirk's form pulsed with what might have been hope. "For millennia, we thought advancement meant moving in a single direction. Now we understand. True progress is multidimensional." The final vote was unanimous. The Eternal Empire officially ceased to exist, replaced by the Galactic Commons, a network of independent worlds, each free to develop according to their own nature while contributing to the greater whole. As the delegates dispersed, carrying the news to their homeworlds, Helena stood with Arya in the transformed palace. Was it worth the centuries of preparation? She asked. The long isolation, the hidden development, all the years of waiting. Arya's aurora form danced with satisfaction. "Look," she said simply. The view from the palace showed a galaxy transformed. Where once there had been uniformity, now there was beautiful chaos, a chaos of creation, of discovery, of different paths, all leading forward. Ships of crystal flew alongside vessels of pure energy. Quantum signals danced with telepathic networks. Every species, every world was contributing its unique perspective to the greatest technological and cultural flowering in galactic history. Humanity's greatest achievement, Helena mused, wasn't developing advanced technology. It was proving that no single approach to advancement is supreme. The galaxy needed to be reminded of what it had lost, the power of diversity. As the first day of the new era drew to a close, the galaxy pulsed with possibilities. The age of empires was over, the age of exploration. True exploration, in 10,000 different ways, had begun. Humanity had set out to defeat an empire. Instead, they had helped free the galaxy from the chains of uniformity, proving that the greatest power lies not in domination, but in the infinite variety of paths leading to the future. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if celebrating the dawn of a new age, an age where every species was free to reach for them in their own unique way. The end.